Yama, I'm Jack, and this is Newsbreak. Tasty. Not the burger, that's the name of a new restaurant chain in Russia that's taken over from McDonald's. So what do Russians think of their new burgers, and why is it such a big deal?
Welcome to Vkusno I tochka, which translates literally to tasty, and that's it. You may not recognise this logo, but the food here might be pretty familiar. That's because it's the new rebranded version of McDonald's in Russia. You see, last month McDonald's left Russia for good because of the war in Ukraine. But then this guy decided to buy all of the restaurants and keep the workers and menu pretty much the same. Oh, except for a few notable mentions like the Big Mac. Yeah, some people weren't very happy about that. The opening day of Tasty and That's It reminded a lot of people of similar scenes from 32 years ago, when the first McDonald's opened up in Russia. It was a big deal because it came at the end of the Cold War, the long period of tension between the Soviet Union and the West, and it was seen as a sign of Russia opening up to American culture. Many see this as a sign too of Russia moving away from the US and its allies. But to many customers, it was just a chance to get their hands on some tasty cheeseburgers and chips.
Well, it's the Queen's birthday long weekend, so you know what that means? Cake! Yeah. Oh, no? Apparently it's also about honouring some Aussies who have done some impressive things in the world in the Queen's birthday honours list. But also cake.
Yep, Australia, it's time to take your hats off to these scientists, sports people, leaders, volunteers, entertainers, and all-round awesome people who have been recognised in the 2022 Queen's Birthday Honours List. Giving out Order of Australia awards on the Queen's birthday is a tradition that's been going on for a really long time, as is celebrating her birthday in June, even though she was born in April. Go figure. This year's recipients included some very familiar faces.
He's done it.
Like the late legendary Shane Warne.
He really was a selfless and remarkable man who always looked to support those less fortunate.
Ash Barty was also honoured for her contributions to sport and her youth mentoring programs. There were a lot of women on this year's list, including Australia's first female Premier Carmen Lawrence and defence scientist Tanya Monroe, who had a message for kids.
If you want to change the world, study science. You know, that's the way you can imagine a new future.
Speaking of science, former Young Australian of the Year Corey Tutt was recognised for helping Indigenous kids get into STEM through his program Deadly Science. And there was a COVID-19 honour roll which celebrated 92 Aussies who have played a huge role in Australia's response to the pandemic. Of course, the list doesn't end there. All up, there were more than 900 winners, and for every single one of them we say, thanks for your awesome work.
The Queen's birthday also means a traditional footy face-off between these Victorian rivals. This year, the Queen's birthday clash between Collingwood and Melbourne was back at the MCG. And so was the annual tradition of dunking costume celebrities into ice-cold water. The Big Freeze is a charity event that raises money for research to fight motor neurone disease. Did you spend any part of the weekend thinking, I'm bored, there's nothing to do? Well, if you did, you're wrong. So let's check out some of the things that went on down under over the weekend. Oh, that's cool. How about going to watch some daredevil dirt bikers and buggy drivers take on one of the world's toughest off-road races? Yep, that would be the Finke Desert Race, an annual 2-day event which started on Sunday in Alice Springs, attracting around 10,000 spectators and some brave racers.
Probably might be a bit rougher, but I'm ready.
If desert races aren't your thing, then maybe you'll be more into this. Melbourne Comic Con was held over the weekend for the first time since the pandemic began.
It's so nice to be around people who are like me and just having fun and getting all excited about nerdy stuff.
And our final fun thing down under is brought to you by the weather. Thanks to massive pre-season snow dumps, ski parks in New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania have been able to open earlier than usual. Maybe I'll go find something fun to do. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.